Hi, this is Daniel Hutchins, and today we're going to be talking about something from our friend Screen Rant. So today from Screen Rant, we're going to be talking about Marvel What If, since it is a pretty hot topic in the universe right now. So why What If had to recast some notable Marvel Cinematic Universe heroes. What If producers explained why the upcoming animated Disney Plus series had to recast some of its more prominent MCU Heroes. Okay, so Marvel Studios had to recast some of the characters of What If because they failed to bring back their original actors. So after 3 live-action series on Disney Plus, the MCU is releasing the first animated show. Initially set to not have any narrative connections to the established universe, the events of Loki effectively open up the possibility of making the upcoming project canon. Now, taking inspiration from the 1970s What If comic books, the show with same title will revisit certain events in MCU history. Imagine how different things would have panned out if certain elements in the stories were changed. Jeffrey Wright will play the show's watcher, who also serves as the narrator. The first 3 episodes have been teased with scenarios such as Peggy Carter becoming Captain America, T'Challa and Star-Lord swapping stories, and Loki going to Earth. Since the show features lots of familiar faces from the franchise, Marvel Studios hired the same actors who played them on the screen to voice them. However, they had to recast certain characters, some of which include notable Avengers. Now, related to this article is how Loki's ending sets up 5 MCU Phase 4 movies and shows. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So, speaking with comic book executive producer Brad Winderbaum explained why they had to hire new voice talents to play characters such as Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, among others. Now, according to him, they did try to bring back everyone, but fortunately most of them were eager to be involved. However, they just couldn't complete the roster, so they had to find a way to bring their heroes to life without them. In terms of casting, they were keener on performance than on voices sounding more like the original player. So which would work considering that the events of What If technically take place in parallel universe. You could read what Winderbaum said about the casting below. So there's this letter below that I'm going to read. So one early decision was we were not going to let the show be defined by actors. We thought we could get part of the fun with What If, is being able to tell stories in any corner of the universe that you want to, and that means you need to have the infinite canvas, you need the infinite potential. Also, I was afraid we wouldn't get any actors to come back. Now, the fact that we got as many as we did, 85% of the actors came back, or something of the sorts. But it's incredible and it's a real honor and privilege to work with them. So, in the case where we couldn't get the original actors back, many of which were very iconic roles, very identifiable voices, we prioritized the performance over the sound-alikes. So you might be able to achieve a perfect Tony Stark voice, but if the depth of the character wasn't there with the acting, so their performance didn't have dimensionality to it. It wouldn't matter that much anyway, but you'd be taken out. That would take you out. So, but the good news was that all these stories exist in a parallel universe. So there is some cerebral justification for slight differences. But once you accept the different voice, hopefully the performances have gravity on them, so that you're following these characters as individuals in their own right in the new context. Okay guys, so more than 24 MCU actors have been tapped to return for What If. From currently active players such as Anthony Mackie, Tom Hiddleston, Michael Douglas, to old-timers like Stanley Tucci, Dominic Cooper, and Haley Atwell. Interestingly, however, most of the characters had been recast or those who recently ended their MCU arcs. Iron Man, and Captain America, Black Widow all wrapped their journeys in Endgame, with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Scarlett Johansson vocally confirming that they are indeed walking away from the superhero gigs. Marvel Studios took a big deal of their respective swan songs, seeing them back for animated show, even just the voice or actor, made cheap in their respective send-offs. Okay, y'all, so despite taking place in alternate universe, the events of What If can very well impact the main MCU, now that the multiverse has been unleashed. Based on what's established in Loki, these versions of characters can very well just be variants of heroes from the primary universe, but since timelines are already crossing over each other in the first place anyway, they could just find themselves in a so-called sacred timeline. In any case of that though, considering how variants can be different from each other, it's much easier to understand why some heroes in animated shows sound different than their original incarnation. Yep, so there you go guys, that is just some information for you about Marvel What If. If you guys are excited about Marvel What If, please leave a comment down below so I know what your guys' thoughts of the new show is. And then you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.